Welcome to the Thornwillow Centennial reading of Ulysses. We are celebrating James Joyce's literary masterpiece by presenting the entire novel through a tapestry of hundreds of video clips that unite readers across the world. Thank you for joining us. And continuing now, Episode 18, Penelope, with Donna Lynne Champlin, reading from New York City.
Hello, my name is Donna Lynne Champlin, and I am a Broadway, television, film, and voiceover actress. I have a degree from Carnegie Mellon University, and I studied at Oxford University. And I am so psyched to read this section because Molly is a funny feminist badass, and I love it. Who knows, is there anything the matter with my insides, or have I something growing in me? Get nothing like that every week. When was it last? I wait Monday. Yes, it's only about 3 weeks. I ought to go to the doctor. Only it would be like before I married him, when I had that weight thing coming from me, and Chloe made me go to that dry old stick Dr. Collins for women's diseases on Pembroke Road. Your vagina, he called it. I suppose that's how we got all the gilt mirrors and carpets, getting round those rich ones off Stephen's Green, running up to him for every little fiddle-faddle. Her vagina and her cochinchina. Well, they've money, of course, so they're all right. I wouldn't marry him, not if he was the last man in the world, because... Besides, there's something queer about their children always smelling around those filthy bitches' outsides. Asking me if what I did had an offensive odour. What did he want me to do but the one thing? Gold? Maybe. Oh, what a question. If I smothered it all over his wrinkly old face for him with all my compliments, I suppose he'd know then. And could you pass it easily? Pass what? I thought he was talking about the Rock of Gibraltar, the way he put it. It's a very nice invention, too, by the way. Only I like letting myself down after, in the hole, as far as I can squeeze, and pull the chain then to flush it. Oof, nice cool pins and needles. Still, there's something in it, I suppose. I always used to know by Millie's when she was a child whether she had worms or not. Still all the same, paying him for that. How much is that, doctor? 1 guinea, please. And asking me, had I frequent omissions? Where do those old fellows get all the words? They have omissions. Oh, the short-sighted eyes on me, cocked sideways. I wouldn't trust him too far to give me chloroform, or God knows what else. Still, I liked him when he sat down to write the thing out. Frowning, so severe, his nose intelligent like. Oh, that you'd be damned, you lion strap. Ugh. Anything, no matter who, except an idiot. He was clever enough to spot that, of course. That was all thinking of him and his mad crazy letters. My precious one, everything connected with your glorious body, everything underlined, that comes from it is a thing of beauty and joy forever. Something he got out of some nonsensical book that had me always at myself 4 and 5 times a day sometimes. Then I said, I hadn't. Are you sure? Oh, yes, I said, I am quite sure, in a way that shut him up. Oh, I knew what was coming next. Only natural weakness, it was. He excited me. I don't know how. The first night ever we met, when I was living in Rehoboth Terrace, we stood staring at one another for about 10 minutes as if we met somewhere. I suppose on account of my being Jewish, looking after my mother, he used to amuse me. The things he said, with a half-sluthering smile on him. And all the doys said he was going to stand for a member of Parliament. Wasn't I the born fool to believe all this blather about Home Rule and the Land League? Sending me that long strool of a song out of the Huguenot to sing in French to be more classy. Au beau pays de la Touraine that I never even sang once. explaining and rigmaroling about religion and persecution. He won't let you enjoy anything naturally. Then might he, as a great favour, the very first opportunity he got a chance, in Brighton Square, running into my bedroom, pretending the ink got on his hands to wash it off with the Albion milk and sulphur soap I used to use and the gelatine still round it. Oh, I laughed myself sick at him that day. Better not make an all night sitting on this affair. They ought to make chambers a natural size so that a woman could sit on it properly. He kneels down to do it, I suppose. There isn't in all creation another man with the habits he has. Look at the way he's sleeping at the foot of the bed. How can he without a hard bolster? It's well he doesn't kick, or I might knock out all my teeth. Breathing with his hand on his nose like that Indian god he took me to show one wet Sunday in the museum in Kildare Street. All yellow in a pinafore, lying on his side on his hands with his 10 toes sticking out that he said was a bigger religion than the Jews and our lords both put together all over Asia. Imitating him, as he's always imitating everybody. I suppose he used to sleep at the foot of the bed too, with his big square feet up in his wife's mouth. Oh, damn, this stinking thing. Anyway, where's this? Those napkins are... Oh, yes, I know. I hope the old press doesn't creak. I knew it would. He's sleeping hard. Had a good time somewhere. Still, she must have given him great value for his money. Of course, he has to pay for it from her. Oh, it's a nuisance of a thing. I hope they'll have something better for us in the other world. Tying ourselves up, God help us. That's all right for tonight now. The lumpy old jingly bed always reminds me of old Cohen. I suppose he scratched himself in it often enough. And he thinks father bought it from Lord Napier that I used to admire when I was a little girl because I told him. Easy piano. Oh, I like my bed. Oh, God, here we are, as bad as ever, after 16 years. How many houses were we in at all? Raymond Terrace and Ontario Terrace and Lombard Street and Holly Street. He goes about whistling every time we're on the run again. His Huguenot, or the Frog's March, pretending to help the men with our 4 sticks of furniture. Oh, and then the City Arms Hotel. Oh, worse and worse, says Warren Daly. That charming place on the landing. Always someone inside praying and then leaving all their stinks after them. Always know who was in there last. Every time we're just getting on right, something happens or he puts his big foot in it. Toms and Haleys and Mr. Cuffs and Drimmies. Either he's going to be running to prison over his old lottery tickets, that was supposed to be all our salvations, or he goes and gives impudence. We'll have him coming home with the sack soon out of the Freeman too, like the rest, on account of those Sinn Féin or the Freemasons. Then we'll see if the little man he showed me, dribbling along in the wet all by himself round by Cody's Lane, will give him much consolation that he says is so capable and sincerely Irish. He is indeed, judging by the sincerity of the trousers I saw on him. Wait, there's George's church bells. Wait. 3/4 the hour. Wait. 2 o'clock? Well, that's a nice hour of the night for him to be coming home at to anybody. Climbing down into the area. If anybody saw him, I'll knock him off that little habit tomorrow. First, I'll look at his shirt to see, or I'll see if he has that French letter still in his pocketbook. I suppose he thinks I don't know deceitful men. All their 20 pockets aren't enough for their lies. Then why should we tell them? Even if it's the truth, they don't believe you. Then tucked up in bed, like those babies in the aristocrat's masterpiece he brought me another time, as if we hadn't had enough of that in real life without some old aristocrat, or whatever his name is, disgusting you more with those rotten pictures. Children with 2 heads and no legs, That's the kind of villainy they're always dreaming about, with not another thing in their empty heads. They ought to get slow poison, the half of them. Then tea and toast for him, buttered on both sides, and new-laid eggs. I suppose I'm nothing anymore when I wouldn't let him lick me in Holly Street one night. Man, tyrant as ever. For one thing, he slept on the floor half the night, naked, the way the Jews used to when someone dies belonged to them, and wouldn't eat any breakfast, speak a word, wanting to be petted, so I thought I stood out and off for one time and let him. He does it all wrong too, thinking only of his own pleasure. His tongue is too flat, or I don't know what. He forgets that I don't... I'll make him do it again if he doesn't mind himself, and lock him down to sleep in the coal cellar with the black beetles. I wonder, was it her, Josie, off her head with my cast-offs? He's such a born liar too. No, he'd never have the courage with a married woman. That's why he wants me and Boylan. Though as for her Dennis, as she calls him, that forlorn-looking spectacle, you couldn't call him a husband. Yes, some little bitch he's got in with. Even when I was with him, with Millie at the college races. That hornblower with the child's bonnet on the top of his knob let us into by the back way. He was throwing his sheep's eyes at those two doing skirt duty up and down. I tried to wink at him first. No use, of course. That's the way his money goes. This is the fruits of Mr. Paddy Dignam. Yes, they were all in great style at the grand funeral and the paper Boylan brought in. Oh, if they saw a real officer's funeral, that'd be something. Reversed arms, muffled drums, and the poor horse walking behind and back. El Bloom and Tom Kiernan, that drunk little barrelly man that bit his tongue off falling down the men's WC, drunk some place or other. And Martin Cunningham, and the two Daedaluses, and Fanny McCoy's husband. Oh, white head of cabbage. Skinny thing with a turn in her eye, trying to sing my songs. She'd want to be born all over again. And a road green dress with a low neck, as she can't attract them any other way. Like Dublin on a rainy day, I see it all now, plainly. And they call that friendship. Killing and then burying one another. And they all with their wives and families at home. More especially Jack Power keeping that barmaid he does. Of course his wife is always sick, or going to be sick, or just getting better of it. And he's a good-looking man still, though he's getting a bit grey over the years. Ugh, they're a nice lot, all of them. Well, they're not going to get my husband again into their clutches if I can help it. Making fun of him then, and behind his back. I know well when he goes in with his idiotics because he has sense enough not to squander every penny piece he earns down their gullets and looks after his wife and family. Good for nothings. Poor Paddy Dignam, all the same. I'm sorry in a way for him. I mean, what are his wife and 5 children going to do unless he was insured? Oh, comical little teetotum. Always stuck up in some pub corner, and her son waiting. Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? Her widow's weeds won't improve her appearance. They're awfully becoming, though, if you're good looking. What then? Wasn't he? Yes! He was at the Glen Cree dinner, and Ben Dollard, bass baritone, the night he borrowed the swallowtail to sing out of in Holly Street. Oh, squeezed and squashed into them and grinning all over. His big dolly face, like a well-whipped child's body. Didn't he look a balmy bollocks, sure enough? That must have been a spectacle on the stage. Imagine paying 5 shillings in the preserved seats for that. Oh, to see him trotting off in his trousers. And Simon Daedalus too. Oh, he was always turning up half-screwed, singing the second verse first. The old love is the new was one of his. So sweetly sang the maiden on the hawthorn bough. Oh, he was always on for the flirtifying too. When I sang Maratona with him at Freddie Mayer's private opera, he had a delicious, glorious voice. Oh, Phoebe dearest, goodbye, sweetheart. He always sang it not like Bartle D'Arcy. Sweet tart. Goodbye. Oh. Of course, he had the gift of the voice, so there was no art in it. All over you, like a warm shower bath. Oh, Maratona. Wildwood Flower, we sang splendidly, though it was a bit too high for my register, even transposed. And he was married at the time to May Goulding. But then he'd say or do something and knock the good out of it. He's a widower now. I wonder what sort is his son. He says he's an author and going to be a university professor of Italian, and I'm to take lessons. What is he driving at now, showing him my photo? It's not good of me. I ought to have gotten it taken in drapery. That never looks out of fashion. Still, I look young in it. I wonder he didn't make him a present of it altogether, and me too. After all, why not? I saw him driving down to the Kingsbridge station with his father and his mother. I was in mourning. That's 11 years ago now, yes. He'd be 11. Then what was the good in going into mourning for what was neither one thing nor the other? Of course, he insisted he'd go into mourning for the cat. I suppose he's a man now by this time. Oh, he was an innocent boy then, a darling little fellow in his Lord Fauntleroy suit and curly hair like a prince on the stage. When I saw him at Matt Dillon's, he liked me too, I remember. They all do. Wait. Oh, by God, yes, hold on. He was in the carriage this morning when I laid out the deck. Union with a young stranger, neither dark nor fair, you met before. I thought he'd meant him. But he's no chicken nor a stranger either. Besides, my face was turned the other way. What was the 7th card after that? The 10 of spades for a journey by land. Then there was a letter on its way and scandals too. The 3 queens and the 8 of diamonds for a rise in society, yes. Wait, it all came out. And 2 red 8s for new garments. Look at that. And didn't I dream something too? Yes, there was something about poetry in it. I hope he hasn't long greasy hair hanging into his eyes or standing up like a red Indian. Why do they go about like that for? Only getting themselves and their poetry laughed at. I always liked poetry when I was a girl. First, I thought he was a poet like Lord Byron, and not an ounce of it in his composition. I thought he was quite different. I wonder, is he too young? He's about, 88, I was married. 88, Millie is 15 yesterday. 89, what age was he then at Dillon's? 5 or 6? About 88? I suppose he's 20 or more. I'm not too old for him if he's 23 or 24. I hope he's not that stuck-up university student sort. No. Otherwise he wouldn't go sitting down in the old kitchen with him taking Epsis cocoa and talking. Of course he pretended to understand it all. Probably he told him he was out of Trinity College. He's very young to be a professor. Oh, I hope he's not a professor like Goodwin was. He was a patent professor of John Jameson. They all write about some woman in their poetry. Well, I suppose they won't find many like me. Where softly sighs of love the light guitar, where poetry is in the air, the blue sea and the moon shining so beautifully. Coming back on the night boat from Tarifa, the lighthouse at Europa Point. Oh, the guitar that fellow played was so expressive. Will I ever go back there again? All new faces. 2 glancing eyes a lad is hid. I'll sing that for him. They're my eyes, if he's anything of a poet. Two eyes as darkly bright as love's own star. Aren't those beautiful words? As love's young star. Oh, it'll be a change, the Lord knows, to have an intelligent person to talk to about yourself. Not always listening to him and Billy Prescott's ad and Keyes' ad and Tom the Devil's ad. Oh, then if anything goes wrong in their business, we have to suffer. I'm sure he's very distinguished. I'd like to meet a man like that. God, not those other rough. Besides, he's young. Those fine young men I could see down in Margate Strand bathing place from the side of the rock, standing up in the sun, naked like a god or something, and then plunging into the sea with them. Why aren't all men like that? There'd be some consolation for a woman, like that lovely little statue he bought. Oh, I could look at him all day long. Curly head and its shoulders, his finger up for you to listen. Oh, there's real beauty and poetry for you. I often felt I wanted to kiss him all over. Also his lovely young cock there, so simple. I wouldn't mind taking him in my mouth if nobody was looking. As if it was asking you to suck it. So clean and white he looks, with his boyish face. I would too in half a minute, even if some of it went down. What? It's only like gruel or the dew. There's no danger. Besides, he'd be so clean compared with those pigs of men who, I suppose, never dream of washing it from one year's end to the other, the most of them. Only that's what gives the women a moustaches. Oh, I'm sure it'll be grand if I can only get in with a handsome young poet at my age. I'll throw them the first thing in the morning till I see if the wish card comes out. Or I'll try pairing the lady herself and see if he comes out. I'll read and study all I can find, or learn a bit off by heart if I knew who he likes, so he won't think me stupid, and if he thinks all women are the same, and I can teach him the other part. Oh, I'll make him feel all over him till he faints under me. Then he'll write about me, lover and mistress, publicly too, with our two photographs in all the papers when he becomes famous. Oh. But then what am I going to do about him, though?
We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of The Colophon and our Centennial reading of Ulysses from Thornwillow Press. Be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and please consider supporting us by visiting our website, www.thornwillow.com. Your help makes this and all our endeavors possible.